he's going to have a positive impact on Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, the entire city of Boston out of District number 7. We're changing the topic at this hour. We're going to talk about race, culture, and guns. Why do different communities look at guns so differently? Race, culture, and guns. The communities look at them so differently. My name is Pastor Bruce Wall, and today it's important that we have this discussion because I'm thinking about it an awful lot. It's difficult to really wade into this. We're having a difficult but necessary conversation. It's difficult. Race, culture, and guns. Why do different communities view firearms so differently? Why? It's important that we have this discussion. Today, we're tackling a topic that is layered with emotional, historical, and very much in front of us. Why is legal gun ownership treated so differently in the black community versus the white community? You can travel 45 minutes going north, cross into New Hampshire or Maine, and see families coming out of their SUVs with rifles, handguns, range bags, safety gear, grandparents carrying old family firearms, younger kids learning to shoot under supervision. It's normal for them. It's part of their culture. Nobody looks twice at it. But for many black families in Boston, guns have been associated with danger, fear, police encounters, trauma, or tragedy. Not recreation, not sport, not heritage, and certainly not employment. So today we're asking, why the difference? Where did it come from? How do history, race, location, policy, and policing shape our beliefs about guns? And what can we learn from each other? This is a very important discussion. And I thought that today, Veterans Day, would be a good day to step into this and have this discussion with you. The lines are open. If you wanted to call in just a few moments when I finish with my briefing segment, let's talk about the history, the story behind the story. And to understand today's divide, we have to talk about history, not to blame, but to understand. Gun ownership was encouraged for some, restricted for others. Historically, in rural white communities, guns were tied to survival, to hunting, to protection, frontier living. In black communities, there were periods when owning a gun could get you arrested or worse. After slavery and Reconstruction, many states passed laws specifically targeting black gun ownership, not always written plainly, but enforced selectively. In the 1960s, when black Americans armed themselves legally for self-defense, some cities responded with even tighter restrictions. Consider the Black Panther Party, the community patrols, legal open carry demonstrations. These actions sparked political pushback and new gun control legislation. So the message became, If you're white and in a rural area, guns are a part of life. But if you're black in an urban community, guns are a threat even when you're legal. The message didn't come from nowhere. It has roots. Did your parents teach you that guns were dangerous, or were you taught they were tools that required respect and training? In many white communities, guns are normalized because they're wrapped up in tradition, sportsmanship, hunting, family time, and self-reliance. It's not usual for a dad, a mom, or a kid to be active at a range or a hunting club. It's not seen as violent. It seems like it's a achieved skill. I went to a range in New Hampshire a number of years ago. When I walked in, I saw a mother with her rifle. I saw a father with his rifle. Their 2 children, I saw them.
You got 2 calls on so 060 and 7794.
And I was really concerned about these families coming up to New Hampshire and carrying guns.
That's the wrong one.
Coming up to New Hampshire and carrying guns.
And the other one. 068. Sorry. Okay.
I think I have a few phone calls. Callers, go ahead. Who's going to be first? Hello, are you there? How did I lose you? Hello?
I can barely hear you, though.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, I have Eric on one line. And who do I have on the other line?
This is Brother Jamal, but let Eric go first.
Eric, go right ahead.
Good morning, Pastor. So the issue with guns and the mindset of the black neighborhoods versus the white neighborhoods that are comfortable with guns. My first experience with a gun, I was 6 years old, and my sister's boyfriend had recently just shot someone on the front porch and came into my room and, pointed the gun at me and said, if you tell anyone, I'm going to shoot you too, and burnt me with the gun on my shoulder. So I had a fear of guns at a very young age. But then, a few years later, joining the Boy Scouts, in order to get one of my ranks, I had to get my shooting badge. And so in Boy Scout camp, I refused to do it because I was afraid of guns.
Yeah.
But then the gun instructor, sat down and talked with me, and I told him what happened. And he goes, well, it wasn't the gun. It was the person that had the gun. Mm-hmm. And so that phrase that people use all the time, guns don't kill people, people kill people, kind of made sense to me because the gun couldn't have done it without the person behind it. Yeah. And that kind of gave me the go-ahead to go ahead and shoot, learn how to shoot a rifle and a shotgun and stuff like that, and learn the safety protocols and just how to, respect the gun. And then growing up, being with the Boston Police Explorers, and again, learning how to shoot a gun and then in the military, learning how to shoot the gun and respecting it. But again, it comes with just the mindset of where you're living at and what the gun is used for. And then, unfortunately, in the black neighborhoods, it's used for negative purposes. So that's where the difference comes from. Is just how it's used.
Right. That lines up with part of my thinking. Jamal, you want to weigh in on that?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to give all respect due to Senator Kennedy. Thank you, sir, for chiming in.
Senator Kennedy.
Yeah, this is my guy. I love it. I swear to God, we really should run him for office. They wouldn't even see it coming. But no, on the thing of guns, and particularly for this being a church radio station, have you all seen the movie, or hopefully you know the actual history, Deacons for Defense? Are you familiar with that?
If I am, it's been a long time, and I can't pull anything from it.
Okay, so the Deacons for Defense, it was a decent movie. Forrest Whitaker, some other people were in it, but basically it talks about where were they? Were they in North Carolina, Georgia? Oh goodness! Now my brain is slipping too. But they were in a deep South thing. They had all been black veterans who had just got back from, like, this is before, this is before World War One. This is the remnants of the Civil War, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But long story short, their churches and their communities were under attack from the Klan.
Yeah.
And they was like, well, we know how to shoot. We know how to set up a perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
We know how to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they ended up defending their communities from these things with the guns. Then, of course, as you already noted, Black Panthers, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
In my own case, I am a felon who is not supposed to own a gun.
Right.
But I got shot by somebody who was trying to do me harm. So what happens to me as a 54-year-old man? Am I supposed to never own a firearm? And like, what do we do in a society where you don't have, but everybody else has?
Right.
You literally bringing a knife to a gunfight.
Right. Right. And that's why I wanted to present this, because when I went to the range, they had targets, and you choose what target that you want to put on that pulley. And
yeah.
And
a lot of them are black figures.
Well, fortunately, when I went to this range in New Hampshire, they were all white. They weren't black figures, because I said if I walked in there and they were all black figures, I'm out of here. But they had flyers saying date night. You and your lover could come here at a discount rate. When I saw all these people with guns, I was traumatized being in that environment. I have never seen that before, and it was so vogue. It was something that they did. I've never seen a black range.
Pastor Wall and Eric, look, this is the thing. When we're out there in the world, mm-hmm. you're driving on the highway, right? Mm-hmm. How many people do you think are drunk? And when you're at the shopping mall, how many people do you think are armed? Mm. So that's the point. When we're out there in the regular society, we don't know who's crazy and who's sane and who's, with goodwill or who is malintended. We just don't know.
But Erica, you were traumatized. Jamal, was that shooting? Were you also traumatized? How did you emotionally deal with being shot?
One thing for me, at least, and I do this to this day. I'm showing my daughter and thing that if I put my hand over my heart and I extend out my middle finger, basically it's where the bullet grazed me. So literally 4 inches over, and we're not having this conversation right now. So, but as you know, being my youth pastor, as a young person, I came up through the most dangerous times in Boston. What was the height of it at the time? 167 or 150? What was it?
It was 150 something.
Yeah. So that's when I came up in the 80s, when crack first came out, and 9mm and Uzis, and it was in all the rap songs, and so my experience with guns has also been what the old scenario says. I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
Right. And
So,
yeah, that's so. But you haven't answered the question about the trauma. How do you
I'm
deal with the
traumatized
trauma?
to this day. Meaning that, and even what I do now, some of the outspoken things
Yeah.
that, I was like, when a person issues an idle threat, they don't even know that threat holds more weight than what they might even be thinking. Right? Because my brain is still set on, and I'm not going to be anybody's cat food.
Right. And Eric, that trauma is still in you. That's still with you, although you've been to the range. That trauma is still there, correct?
I wouldn't say that it's still. I mean, the scar is still there, so the reminder of it is there. But as for still being traumatized by it, no, because I can handle guns or any type of firearm with no issues now.
See, I have never been shot. I have never been threatened by somebody who had a gun, but I have a respect for a weapon. I have a real respect for weapons. And if our community was invaded or surrounded, would our folk know how to defend themselves? So, is that
No.
Is that a no?
That's a no. And let me just tell you, at least for me, from the revolutionary sector, where people have talked about a race war or a government thing, I mean, that is pure fantasy. That's pure fantasy. People don't know how to shoot.
Right.
They don't, I mean, it's just, it's fantasy. And, for you, lucky you, but you came up, this is why it wasn't a bunch of guns, you know what I mean? Like, for your generation. But when my mother first got saved and all that, what was old boy, Nicky Cruz, the cross and the switchblade?
Yeah.
Right. Because all of y'all was like doing, I guess, regular gang stuff. Y'all had like bike chains and switchblades and
Canines,
you know what I mean?
And dogs. We use
And dogs.
German Shepherds and Doberman pinchers. Yeah.
So
And let me also make this statement. Is this statement true? In many white communities, guns are normalized because they're wrapped up in tradition, sportsmanship, hunting, family time, and self-reliance. Is that a true statement? To the max.
I mean, Eric, I don't want to monopolize time here. You want to go on that?
Well, I'm thinking about today's society, today's youth. We're dealing with video game gangsters. They spend all their days on the video games, shooting and stuff, and thinking that they're Jason Bourne when they get out in the street, and without any training or anything, and just blasting away, hoping they hit something. And that's the difference between our society, and then when you go north of the border to New Hampshire, where they actually teach, at a young age, the kids gun safety, how to shoot, and the correct way of holding and respecting the gun.
But okay, and then here's what I will add on: when we're talking about white families with guns, like I was, exposed to as a young kid in private schools, dealing with, somebody, like, nobody is getting shot and murdered with the gun that they use to go kill pheasants.
Right.
Okay, so That's not happening. So when you're dealing with the white families, at least in my experience, I've seen, like literal, like, the stuff that they go kill mooses or mises or whatever. You know what I mean? All that type of stuff. I've seen that type of stuff. But that's not what's happening in the hood. And even, I don't even want to say in the hood, but even some of those communities in Maine or Vermont where you're dealing with marijuana or whatnot, people are not getting shot with, deer hunting rifles.
Right.
It's the 9mm, it's the, the 45s, the 44s, the 40 cals, you know what I mean? Come on. So, there's a problem with actual, handgun stuff and stuff that, will blow you away.
Yeah.
If you get hit with, the Dirty Harry 44 Magnum, say goodbye to your face. And that's more likely what happens than this other stuff of, the deer hunters and like nobody's stealing deer hunting rifles, and I don't want to say nobody, but you know what I mean. That's not what's being used in the majority of street crimes and murders.
Right, because I was just going to say, it's not unusual for a dad or mom in a white community, especially in the South, and kids to be active at a range or a hunting club. It's not seen as violent. It's seen as a skill. But for black families, it's associated with street violence, youth homicides, police tensions, fear of being misidentified, community trauma, media imagery. And when I went to the range, the person who brought me brought their 5 out of 15 guns that they own, and they made me shoot with all of them. Semi-automatics, revolvers. I was traumatized. I was traumatized just shooting the guns. But someone came to me and wanted me as a pastor to set up some seminars with some experts coming in, talking to people about how they could legally pursue guns and be trained. Is that something that a pastor should be involved in?
Well, let me just say this. Back in the day, if we go to the Bible, right, as you know, the disciples were armed, yeah?
One took off.
Peter at least had a sword.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so maybe he would have had a 38, and maybe he would have shot old boy's ear off with a 38. Mm-hmm. We don't know. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't invented yet. So I don't think that anything scripturally precludes people from being armed. The problem is, of course, when all of the other things of man and humanity comes in. Now, how are you using it? Are you using it to exert authority over a person? Are you using it for a malicious purpose? Are you know what I mean? Like, that's where it gets tricky. But as long as you are using it for the purpose that any weapon should be used for, which is to secure and, create safety and protect, then it's good. But if you're using it to take over or rob or, threaten, then that's where it goes to the dark side.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
No, I was just picturing, like, you having your gun, and then the altar call comes, or not the altar call, the offering comes, and you saying, okay, time for offering, then you, like, push your robe aside and show the gun, and make sure you put something in that plate type thing. But, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with a pastor, having seminars and stuff like that, teaching how people, helping people to be safe and learn how to use guns and stuff like that, because it is a part of our society and a way to keep ourselves safe. Because even owning a home. You can get your FID card, but again, you have to know how to use those things, and the safety for it. So if we don't teach ourselves, who's going to do it?
So if I had a couple seminars here, you wouldn't say something's wrong with him or he's gone to the dark side?
Absolutely not.
Jamal?
No, I mean, once again, as long as it's all focused on safety and all the good things, you know what I mean? Then why not?
Because I don't think a lot of us have been taught what are weapons for, what are guns for, how were they used, how to use them. We don't. And you're right, Jamal. If something happened in the community, we were invaded, attacked, or whatever, these brothers and sisters who have these weapons, they would not be a strong arm of defense at all. They just,
Well, once again, the benefit that we do have in our community and you have in your congregation and network is folks who are, in fact, law enforcement. You know what I mean? Been former police, what have you. You got somebody like Scotty who, and I know Scotty is getting up there in age now as well, right? But, could still chop somebody in their neck. You know what I mean? Martial arts, this type of thing. It all has to be the people who know the things to do have to be the people who are like, okay, that's what we lead it to. So, even a guy like me, just because, look, my firearm stuff came from my shenanigans as a child. But then later on, when I went to Atlanta and whatnot, and I started going to the range, I actually started, trying to understand. But also, too, I'm a convicted felon. I am prohibited forever from stuff that happened back when I was a teenager. I'm prohibited from ever legally owning a firearm. You see how that works?
Yeah.
And I've been shot. So I'm supposed to sit around with, I guess, a slingshot or something.
To defend yourself.
None of the laws make sense. None of any of this makes sense. But I do believe that anybody should be trained. And also, too, let me give you this last scenario. When I was on Humboldt Avenue, and a lot of the kids used to cut through my yard and stuff like this. Long story short, I believe people should be trained in handling firearms what if somebody cuts through your backyard and now you see a gun in your backyard? You should know how to be able to pick that up and handle it without shooting yourself in the pinky toe.
Yeah. Where is the safety? How do I turn this thing off? Well, Yeah.
So I think that these are just basic survival skills, like boiling an egg, that people should know.
Let me ask you both to respond to this. Somebody in North Carolina is watching us, and the person said, "Training never hurts." That I believe that's an endorsement for us to do the training. In Maine and New Hampshire, gun stores are everywhere. That's true. Shooting ranges welcome families. Laws are simple. Permits are easier to obtain. Culture welcomes responsible ownership. When I was at Jamal, if you laugh, I'm coming to your house and I'm going to hurt you. I know Eric's not going to laugh when I tell this story. When I was at the range and I was shooting the guns, I was really proud of myself. Even though I never hit the target, I was proud of myself. And Jamal.
I'm sorry, sir.
So the guy who was monitoring all of us shooting tapped me on the shoulder, and I said, "Yes, sir." He says, if you hit the steel again, I'm gonna have to suspend your privilege of shooting at my range." I wasn't hitting the target. I was hitting the steel, and they were concerned about the ricocheting of the bullet. I know nothing about guns, but after that experience and that embarrassment, I said, I need to know something about them. I need to know. And in Boston, the application process is longer, regulations are higher, many residents don't know the steps, and fear of being profiled discourages interest. Why is there such an aversion to teach people about gun ownership in our city and helping them to process guns if their records are clean? Either of you want to respond to that?
For me, I think it's a fear of guns, and what if I do that and get a gun and then someone else gets it? It's just, living in our neighborhoods where gun violence is rampant. I think it's just plain fear. Like, they don't want anything to do with guns.
Yeah, and anything in Massachusetts, from what I understand, if you go through the preliminary class, which generally cost you about $150, $150. You go through the gun safety class, and at that point, then you have to bring your certificate or what have you to your local police department.
Police department. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the chief has to sign off on it. Now, here in Boston, it's one of the most difficult places to get because the common thing is, we don't need no more guns. Sometimes if other people live out in other areas on the outskirts, you might have a better chance. And if you are a business person or something like that, or what have you, you might have a better chance if you can make a case for you carry cash or this or that, what have you. But Boston is traditionally one of the most trepidatious when it comes to giving out gun licenses. And once again, in my case, as a former felon, I went through the process. I did the whole thing. And, I'm denied because of a felony when I was 19 years old. Actually, 18, 1989. And then here I am as a 54-year-old man and still never able to, and my crimes were not even gun-related. It was just a regular felony. You know what I mean? But now here I am still at 54, precluded, quote-unquote, from legally having a gun based on a felony from 1989.
Yeah, and there's no remedy for that. No remedy at all. Is that correct? There's no remedy for that felony?
Well, I've been going around, Maura Healy, if you're listening. Hey, Maura, holla. I need like a pardon or something.
Yeah. Well, it's something that I'm thinking about. A lot of people around me are thinking about having guns. And during the 80s and 90s, when I was doing my work in the cities, especially in the street, I wanted to get a gun permit. And it became public. And the police commissioner asked one of his superintendents to meet with me, and they did. And they wanted to talk me down from securing a license to carry and a gun. And because I respected this person, I didn't go through with it. But I would never let somebody talk me down from owning a gun if that's something that I wanted. And I just think that the climate in our country and the climate even in our city warrants people having a way to protect their property and protect themselves. So I'm just thinking about what the church should do. I would rather teach people how to manage, how to handle, how to use a weapon than to let them just use a weapon and not ever be trained thoroughly.
But also, too, you got to deal with what, you could be comfortable with and, familiar. So, like, for instance, in your case, I would recommend a musket.
A musket? because I'll be familiar with my past. Is that what you're saying? Eric,
I know Eric. I ain't no good. Eric.
Eric, are you laughing? Is that Eric? That is Eric. Eric.
Oh man.
Why does a gun conversation turn into humor? I don't understand that.
So, I have two comments before I have to go, before my medical team comes in. But I just want to say that in the South, there are black families that are doing the same thing that our white counterparts are doing in the Maine and New Hampshire up north. There are black families that are doing the same thing down in the South. And also for those who have their gun permits and license to carry, please don't just get the license and leave it at that. Go and practice.
Yeah. We actually have somebody else who just called in. Caller, can you turn down your computer? Because we're hearing the feedback. Did you call in to say something?
I did. Good afternoon, or good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. So go ahead.
Well, I was just going to respond to two things that Mr. Jamal said. Good afternoon, good morning, Mr. Jamal. I don't know if you noticed the voice, but I say good morning to you, sir. I am calling to say, as Mr. Crawford's thing, that you can. I have known people who have records in a different community be able to get it. That's if you're willing to go through the fight to get what you're looking for. It's going to be a fight. You said you're a whole different person than I'm a whole different person than I was when we were teenagers, and you knew me then. So that can happen. Now, as far as the getting guns in churches and everything else, you got to think of the legal responsibility of it. That's what concerns most people. Legal responsibility. Even me, I have a concealed carry permit in many different states across the country. But if I do something in a church, who's going to be found responsible? That's what the issue is there.
Right. So if we bring in the trainers and that person goes out and does something, they're going to trace it back to they were instructed at a school in a Global Ministries Christian Church. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not instructed. I mean, they're going to check that and say, yeah, you've had the training, you know how to handle a firearm, but who's going to be responsible? Is it justified? I mean, they're going to scrutinize every aspect of it. I mean, when was his last training? When did this happen? And that's part of the inner city things that keep people from getting guns. I've worked in many communities across the state, and for a person to get a permit in another, as one of the gentlemen said, in another town, it's easy. Let's go with Milton, Quincy. You can get a permit from the chief like that. Me, as a retired guy, I went to get my permit from Boston. I had to go through all the scrutiny to get it. I'm like, I've been carrying guns for 30 years. But they send you through it because it kind of like holds you back.
Okay, so let me go back to what you said when you called in initially. You're saying that you know people who have had felonies, but they've been able to secure a weapon, a gun.
Correct. A permit, getting a permit for a weapon. But it's a lot of legal ramifications you have to go through. I mean, a lot. I mean, they send them through it, but they pass them through it.
Jamal, have you started the process? Ever? Have you ever started the process and stayed with it?
Well, okay, once again, in full transparency here, ladies and gentlemen, that thing that precluded me from getting a license was actually a restraining order that was put on me in 1989 from a girlfriend at the time. We were having a rough breakup, and I threatened the next her next young gentleman suitor. Okay, that turned into a whole thing, and that's literally what came up was that restraining order from 1989 that precluded me from getting the gun thing now.
I'm just wondering, with paying an attorney, did you go by way of the attorney route, or did you try to do it independently?
No, at that point, that was when I first got the first denial. So now at this point, yes, the next time I pursue that, yes, I will be trying to use legal representation.
Right, and the people that know you, it might be a whole different trip this time around. Okay.
I don't know the people that know me. That might make it worse.
I've got 5 minutes. Let's go to Don Earl. Why don't you go first? You got any final comments to make about this whole gun conversation?
Well, yeah, I will say it's a different beast where I am now.
Yeah.
It's a whole different beast with weapons. I mean, they got two type of weapons down here. You got an open carry or concealed carry. Open carry, just about anybody can get, as long as it's on your side and everybody can see it.
Why would a person want to walk around and displaying their weaponry?
It's the South. It's the South. That is your right. I mean, it just came down here. When I first moved down here, all you needed to get a weapon at Walmart, at any store, was your license. Just a driver's license would get you a weapon.
Wow.
Now, pardon, let's stop the broadcast. You just said Don Earl?
Yeah.
Don't say nothing.
Hey, bruh, I love you, bruh.
He asked you if you.
No, I didn't hear the voice, but then you said the name. It all clicked in together. Bruh, nothing but love for you, bruh.
Yeah, he's like he's
Thank you, big brother. Thank you. Same to you.
He's like an older son to me.
You just hurt me a little bit when you said how old you are now. That means I'm getting younger.
Right. Because you're older than me. And he's older than all of us.
Yes, sir. But, I mean, I think it's an important thing. I think education and training for most people is going to be the key. And you'll find some people who get into the training and do not want to be having a gun at all,
right,
because it's strenuous. You got to think quick. You got to do certain things. You got to justify certain things. And some people, it just ain't worth it to them.
So are you trying to say that if I was in the class, I would not pass the class? Because
No, sir, not at all.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure.
I am not saying that at all. Not at all.
Because
I would have some doubt, but I'm not saying that.
Jamal, final comment.
Well, I just say I think you would pass on the musket test.
Jamal.
Yeah,
Jamal, you are bad. You know you're bad.
I said you would pass on the musket test.
Yes.
I think you could shoot a turkey or something like that. And right now, 'tis the season, with a little pilgrim hat on or something. Yeah.
Eric, you will pay for your laughter. Any final comments, Eric?
Final comments is just gun safety is key. Just having the knowledge, and just having the knowledge doesn't mean you have to go out and get the gun, but just knowing what to do if you're around them.
Yeah. I had a lot of notes that I was going to use as my information sheet, but having you three guys call in and talk was even better. So I appreciate it. Thank you for calling in from around the country, and